welcome and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Sophie and today we're going to be doing a top 100 list of the books you should read before you die, I think it's called. I thought there was an official BBC list for this, but I can't find it anywhere, so I don't know if it's down at the moment or if I'm just being stupid. Either of those is a real possibility, but I found a list on Goodreads that looks similar to what I imagine the real list would look like, so we're going to do that instead. And yeah, we're just going to work through the list and see how many of these 100 I've read. Apparently people read on this list quite a small number, but I have scanned the list and I can see Harry Potter's on there, so automatically I'm going to be up by several points already. But yeah, we're just going to get into it. So I've got the list on my phone, I've got my little pen and paper so I can keep track of how many I've read, and we're just gonna go. So the first one is Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, and I haven't read that. I'm not a Lord of the Rings girl. I have tried to watch the first film about 3 times and I don't think I've ever finished it. It just isn't my cup of tea. Number 2, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Big tick, I have read that, I love that. I'm a big Pride and Prejudice girly. Number 3, His Dark Materials. Now I read that when I was a kid, so I can't remember it at all, but I have read it. Number 4, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Now I have this book, I don't think I've read it, but I do own it. Number 5, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So these are out of order, so I have read Goblet of Fire. Number 6, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I don't think I've read that. No, I've not read that. And number 7, Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. I must have read Winnie the Pooh when I was a kid. Mum's nodding, Mum's saying I've read it. So yeah, we're gonna tick that one. Number 8, 1984 by George Orwell. I haven't read that. I know it's very, very famous and very popular, but I haven't read it. Number 9, Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. I have read that. I like Narnia a lot. Number 10, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Tick, read Jane Eyre. Number 11, Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've ever even heard of that one. Catch-22, I mean I've heard of the phrase Catch-22, but I don't think I've read the book. Number 12, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Definitely read that at some point. Number 13, Birdsong by Sebastian Faulks. I haven't read that. Number 14, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I haven't read that either. I'm not doing very well at the moment. Number 15, Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Haven't read that. Number 16, The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. Haven't read that. Number 17, Great Expectations. Have I read Great Expectations? I don't think I have, by Charles Dickens. Number 18, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Now I haven't read that, but my mum's recently bought me a beautiful copy, so that is on my current TBR list. So yeah, I'm quite excited to read that. We're on 7 at the moment. I'm not doing great. Captain Corelli's Mandolin by Louis de Bernier. I haven't read that. War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. That did not come out of my mouth right. Leo Tolstoy. I haven't read that. I'm doing awfully. We're on 21, Gone with the Wind, Margaret Mitchell. Haven't read that. Oh, here we go. Number 22, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Yeah. Number 23, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Yeah. Number 24, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Yeah. Okay, The Hobbit. I haven't read The Hobbit. Test of the D'Urbervilles. I have read that. I read that during my 6th form A-levels. Middlemarch by George Eliot. I haven't read. A Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving. I haven't read. The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I have not read. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Have I read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland? I don't think I have actually. I think we might have the book, but I don't think I've read it. I'm surprised by this one on the list. I'm not sure if this is the official list or if it's just quite inclusive. The Story of Tracy Beaker by Jacqueline Wilson. I did read that when I was a kid. I did read some of the Jacqueline Wilson ones, but yeah. 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I have not read. Some of these I haven't even heard of, I'm not gonna lie. The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I haven't read. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. Now I'm pretty sure I read that when I was younger. Treasure Island I've never read. A Town Like Alice I've never read. Persuasion by Jane Austen. We've read this. Yay. June by Frank Herbert I've not read. Emma by Jane Austen I've read. I think I've read all the Jane Austens. I don't remember them, like this actual reading the stories, but I do know I've read them. Anne of Green Gables I haven't read. Watership Down I haven't read. The Great Gatsby I have read because I think I read that when the film came out because I wanted to be prepared. The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas? I'm not sure how you pronounce that, I'm sorry. Brideshead Revisited I've not read. Animal Farm I've not read. The other class did this in English, but I didn't do it. We did do A Christmas Carol. We did that to death, so I can tick that off. Far From the Madding Crowd I've also read during my A-levels. Goodnight Mr. Tom I've not read. The Shells, sorry, the formatting's weird. The Shell Seekers I've not read. The Secret Garden I've not read. Of Mice and Men I've read, and I did not enjoy Of Mice and Men. We did that in school as well. The Stand by Stephen King I've not read. Anna Karenina. You know what I'm trying to say. I can't understand how many N's there are. By Leo Tolstoy I haven't read. A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth I have not read. The BFG by Roald Dahl. Would I have read that when I was younger?
You did in middle school.
Did I in middle school? Okay, I'm taking that off. It's good job Mum's here. The Swallows and Amazons I haven't read. Black Beauty, I remember having the book, but I don't think I read it. I can't remember. Artemis Fowl, I remember reading that, I think. I don't remember the story, but I do remember reading it. Crime and Punishment I've not read. Noughts and Crosses, I think I owned that book for a really long time and I never got around to reading it. Memoirs of a Geisha I've not read. A Tale of Two Cities I've not read. The Fawn Birds by Colleen McCulloch I have not read. Mort by Terry Pratchett I've not read. The Magic Faraway Tree by Enid Blyton I've not read. The Magnus I've not read. Good Omens I've not read. Guards I've not read. Lord of the Flies I've not read, but the other class did. What was my class doing? Because the other class seems to have read all of these. Perfume I've not read. The Ragged Trouser Philanthropists. The Night Watch. Matilda, I must have read Matilda when I was younger. I'm not a Matilda or an Annie girl, I've got to be honest, but I do think I've read them. Bridget Jones's Diary I've not read. The Secret History I've not read. The Woman in White I've not read. Is it Ulysses? I've not read. Bleak House I've not read. Double Act by another Jacqueline Wilson. She's done well to get onto this list. I have read that book. I do remember reading that. The Twits by Roald Dahl. I do remember reading that because I didn't like it. That's a different list, as if I liked it or not. I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith I've not read. Holes I've not read. Oh, how do I say this? Gorgonmast I've not read. The God of Small Things I've not read. Vicky Angel I've read. I don't think that's also Jacqueline Wilson. I don't think this is an official list, but if it is, I'm doing well. Brave New World I've not read. Cold Comfort Farm I've not read. Magician I've not read. On the Road I've not read. The Godfather I've not read. The Clan of the Cave Bear, I've not read. The Colour of Magic, I've not read. The Alchemist, I've not read. Catherine, I've not read. Cain and Abel, I've not read. Love in the Time of Cholera, I have heard of that, but I've not read that. Girls in Love, another Jacqueline Wilson book, I have read. The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot, I've read. We love The Princess Diaries. And then the last one already, 100 Midnight's Children. I've not read that, by Salman Rushdie. So how many have I read? I've read 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 27. I think that's okay, you know. I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it's meant to be like 100 books to read before you pass away, and I'm 29 and I've read 27 books. That's almost one a year. So I'm going to take that as a win. Thank you so much for watching this video. I realised it was basically just me reading from the list, but I had fun. And yeah, let me know how many of those books you've read in the comments below. I'd be really interested to hear. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you again soon for another video. Bye!